Okay. Good morning, everybody. What a week we've had this week. What a week. Welcome to Stock Chartistry's pre-market show. It's 8:15 in the morning, May the 8th. It's a Friday. Thank God it's Friday. Congratulations to the Detroit Pistons. I'm from Detroit originally, so you guys are going to have to excuse me for that. All right, we're going to give everybody a couple of minutes to get settled in, pull up a chair, grab a cup of coffee, get settled in. Go ahead and be putting in your requests for tickers today. I am really going to make sure that I do tickers today, okay? So put in your requests. We're going to run through the first part of this a little bit quicker than I've been doing in the past, okay? So let's see who all's in the house. We got SK is in the house. Ino is in the house. Gilliande is in the house. Lynn is in the house. Felicia is in the house. Welcome, 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 guys. All right. We'll give it like one more minute and we'll get started. As you can see, I have the agenda here, and I also fixed my shortcut on my annotator, so I won't have that aggravating me today. So yeah, your agenda is right here, and that's basically what we're going to go over today. I'm going to try to get through the first part of this pretty quickly. It's just start getting into some charts, okay? And that's why I'm saying let's go ahead and get some tickers into there. So AJ, welcome to the chat, and it is 8:17. So let's get started. All right. Well, look. First thing I want to say is that Charts and Checks had an amazing podcast last night. What they did was they kind of actually reviewed what was going on with the earnings right now and how maybe that you might be able to actually get in on that, or what's your play around that. And then, what do we do now? So it's a very in-depth, and it does a lot of fundamental analysis, which you guys know I focus on the technicals over here on this side of the fence. But those guys, they're excellent. They're in the fundamentals. So when you combine the fundamentals and the technicals, you've got a winning ball game right there. So I would highly suggest checking that out. And guess what? I actually made it easy for you, because what you can do is you can go over to my website over on stockchartistry.com, and I actually created a blog right here. So if you go to stockchartistry.com, see here's where they're at right here. You can actually go to their video from here. Now you can go to Alvaro's channel too as well, the Bilingual Stock Market channel, which is right here, Bilingual Stock Market channel. But if you want to get the notes on this, I actually created a blog from the podcast, and you can actually have the notes to kind of review over the weekend and kind of make your trading strategy for the weekend. So here's all the notes from their podcast. This is on stockchartistry.com. You go over here to the Power Zone, click on Market Edge, and you're going to get it over there right away to their report. So just wanted to point that out. And let's go ahead and let's get into what's going on right now in the pre-market. So we are looking here at futures that are actually inching up again. The NASDAQ's leading the way, which is what you want to see, and the Russell is leading the way a little bit for the NASDAQ. It's not a huge gain, but it's up, and up is better than down, right? And so the VIX is actually dropping a little bit. You also have a nice jump in the bonds, slight jump in the bonds in regards to interest rates then are going down. Your crude oil is kind of flattening right here to maybe down. So all of those things are good for the stock market. The precious metals are actually responding very nicely. Your other metals are kind of mixed in regards to platinum and copper. They're a little up or a little down. But the precious metals are actually up. They're up a little bit. Nothing substantial. And then the dollar is kind of flat. Now, this kind of be expected after you've had moves like we've had. Let's take a quick look at what's going on, in the groups, because we're now at the end of the week. And I like to see how things are moving through the course of, say, over the last month to the last week. So yesterday was a little bit of a down day. We got that news. Got that news about, the war possibly. And so that kind of shot the market down. And so now take notice, you put that back in your mindset in regards to this war it can flip the script still. Okay, we're basically forgetting about it because the earnings have been so good and AI is continuing to drive the narrative. And technology is really just killing it, and it continues to kill it from the monthly, from the weekly, and even yesterday when the market was down. Look at that. Technology actually didn't even take that much of a falter. So that is something to also note. However, I would tell you this, and I mentioned this to you before, when the stock market has a theme going for the week, you don't go against that theme. And the theme for this week began with energy's down and technology's up. So you don't start trying to find ways to short that. But I will tell you this also, that next week, this script could somewhat flip. And I'm not saying that energy is going to be up, but I am saying that it's a possibility. More than likely, you're not going to see another surge on technology. Technology is going to, kind of go into this realm right here, maybe a little flat to green. All right. So that's what I'm expecting to happen for next week. We go over that today because you know what today is? Today's Friday. Today's the end of the week. So that's why we go over it. This is something else that I do like to go over, and I didn't do this yesterday, but I like to try to look and see exactly what happened yesterday, right? So basically the market opened and everybody pretty much went down right out the gate, except for, well, it looks like the SPY went up a little bit as well. So your Dow went straight down, right? So Dow went straight down from the get-go. NASDAQ had a little bit of a pop, and then from there it was down. Same thing with the SPY, a little bit of a pop and down, and the Russell was straight down, right? And we didn't really have a lot of winners yesterday, but you can see NVIDIA, which has really been on a tear lately, and Microsoft actually was a winner yesterday. Microsoft actually bounced a lot more than that, and then it gave some of it back. And then also Tesla is a standout to be paying attention to. We mentioned that Tesla above 400 is actually bullish in yesterday's live, and we also mentioned that NVIDIA above 200 is bullish. And so those things actually came to fruition. Really interesting there. So that's it for that. Let's go ahead and look at the charts. So we're going into the market overview charts right now, and we don't need this side window open for this particular portion. All right, so what are we looking at? The market overview. All right, we drew this line in yesterday, and it broke down out of that line, and now it's actually breaking back up again. So, but it's also just testing the top of this daily trend line. So, if it gets above that, then we could actually do something. But right now, if it bounces into that, and you're actually looking at diminishing candles, see how you have this nice strong candle, and then they kind of start to get a little bit smaller, and now you're putting in a little bit of a doji. That means it's losing steam. It's losing steam as it's actually running up into that resistance. It's also running up into the prior high. So that's something to take note of. This thing has been on a tear, so it really needs to get above that prior high right there to actually be a go long. But you do have this support from the 20-period moving average. And look at this. It came right into this zone right here and popped up. Now, we'll come in more into the SPY in just a second. But just a quick overview on the SPY. Right now, it is up, but it wouldn't hurt for it to actually still give back a little bit more. We mentioned that the SPY, actually yesterday, we mentioned that it's just a little bit too far extended from that 20-period right here, and kind of even called that it wouldn't hurt for it to move back into this 724 range. But the first stop for it was around this 728, looks like, range right there. So now the NASDAQ gave back even less. Look at that. Now the NASDAQ had this high wick right here, gave back even less, and it continues to ride this 20-period up. And it's not as far removed from the 20-period as you look at that. The Dow, however, is putting in a little bit of a bear flag when you look at it. So the Dow actually, this is kind of like maybe the economy right here, or your transportations, your old school industries. Maybe these guys are actually looking to actually go a little bit lower. That might be contrary to the market. Same thing with your Russell. The Russell actually is not looking really that well. It's not underneath the 20-period moving average. So when you look at the Russell compared to the Dow actually is a little bit stronger than the Russell. However, the Dow is underneath of these pivots. So the Russell actually has support underneath of it around 280. We go over here to to Bitcoin, and Bitcoin's really been kind of an interesting player. We kind of had this nice move here, We're waiting to see if it actually can do something with this. It's actually got a nice triangle consolidation into that area, but it's a downward triangle consolidation. Now, it can obviously break out of that. It has overhead resistance, so I would expect for it to maybe do one of these kind of moves if you're actually on a go long on that. If the market sentiment turns around, it might not really do too much today, but next week, if market sentiment turns around and actually becomes negative, it might follow market sentiment, and in which case we never really got that bounce that we were kind of hoping might materialize in it. Gold is actually kind of consolidating. Let me make this more of a trend line here. Gold is actually kind of consolidating in what is somewhat of a pennant bear flag, but when you look at gold on the longer term time frames, it really is it's not really doing too well. I'm going to actually blow that open for you in just a second. Let's go to the TLT. The TLT is underneath of the it's actually picking up some support off the moving averages. Has this really very strong bar right here with a very dominant bar. We call it control bar. It needs to get above that to actually do anything. So right now it's actually just testing the underside. And then we kind of called the top on this. Well, the top, we called the short on it. Let me put it that way right here on this break of this trend right here. And I want to show you that also on a higher time frame chart. But when you look at this, it's on a downtrend. And look at that 20 period. That 20 period is actually a very strong downtrend, putting downward pressure on oil, which is actually good for stocks. So that's not a problem there. But let's zoom this out just a little bit, all of these charts, so that I can actually, let's take it out to a daily chart. So there you go. This is the one I wanted to actually point out to you right here, gold. So if anybody was actually going to ask about gold, it's already been answered for you. Look here on gold. So that's what you're looking at. It's at the top of that range. It's actually looking like it's probably going to come back in, honestly. It needs to get up, it needs to break out of this, and then you could actually have a go high. But, you do have this longer term downtrend right here, right? And so, yeah, but, it's a long way up to that downtrend, and, so it's a possibility of getting there. But right now, I don't really see it actually getting too much. I don't see it getting too much. It's right around this trend line right here. Actually, let's make that trend line right here, okay? It's right there. It's kind of like almost on that trend line. If you look in here, it's a little bit of a consolidation. So if it does one of these numbers, and then it starts to reverse, and then that's actually very bearish. So watch gold for that. And then we're going to skip TLT, but we're going to go right here to oil because oil has been a major player. So oil, once again, oil is in this downtrend right here. And until it breaks that downtrend, and it's not an uptrend, it's downtrend. That's all there is to it. So that's it for oil. All right. Like I said, we're not going to dwell on these charts. I want to dwell on some other charts. I want to dwell on there. Okay. I want to dwell on the actual charts that we want to look at. So we're going to go over to the SPY. All right. Now, I told you guys that this is part of my retro as well. So right here, I have on my list right here that the trade review for our retro right now is actually, we're going to review really quick what I showed you about the SPY yesterday, but in the same time, then we're going to do the SPY chart and max pain and fear and the greed, okay? So let's go ahead and get to that right now. So we drew this trend line. Let me go ahead and maximize this right here. We drew this trend line yesterday, you guys remember? And call me out if I didn't do it. I drew this trend line yesterday. I drew the spike through for you yesterday, didn't I? And what I told you, I said, if it ends up going below those, that is actually a short. And so there was your trend line. Here was your trend line. I was like, and that's actually, I want to do it like this. Okay. Here was your trend line right there. Here was your trend line right here. And I said, if it breaks out of that, and plus you had this daily that it was kind of pushing into, if it breaks out of that, that was actually a go short right there. And what do you got? You had a beautiful go short. Lost the 20-period moving average. It lost the primary trend line, and then it lost your spike through trend line. It lost your 20-period moving average. a very bearish candle. And then it actually found support right there initially on that snapback. Isn't that interesting how these snapbacks work? And then it threw in a snapback. So if you have these snapbacks indicators as part of your trading repertoire, then you would have seen that it actually had a snapback right there. It actually traded below the snapback, but then it picked it up right here off of the middle of the trading range. The upward channel that I've drawn in for, I don't know how many months or a month now, the upward channel, it actually picked up support off of that, and then it ripped higher. So this actually, everything played out perfectly on the technicals on this. The way this thing is trading right now, I actually like it because it's got nice tight candles. Guess what? The timer just went off. So that's the non-farm payrolls coming in. I'm going to finish what I'm talking about right here, but it's got a nice tight channel running up over here, which I like to trade out of these channels. So I would like to actually see this once again fail right here, okay? And then I would actually draw in another trend line right here. But then also, when you do have these trend lines like this, you have pivot trend lines. If you look, if I pivot off of this again, and I do another one, that was that's right here. All right, let's go over to the minute time frame chart on the SPY and see if there's anything going on this non-farm payrolls. So we're on the 15-minute right now. We're going to change this to a 1-minute chart. And yeah, we did get a pretty good spike on that, didn't we? Look at that. That's the 8:30 spike. So we're going to use the 2-minute rule on this. We're going to go ahead. We're going to mark in the top. We're going to mark in the bottom on that on the 2-minute rule. That is your pre-market high, so it's automatically showing on the pre-market high, but we're going to go ahead and mark that in. And I don't know, I'll call it red. Just throw it in as red right there and give it a 2. And then I'm going to set an alert on that, even though I already have alerts. But 2-minute, call it 2-minute high. 2-minute high. All right, if it crosses above that, I want to know about it, okay? And there's your 2-minute low right there, so let's go ahead and mark that in. That's right at your pivots. That's funny right there, isn't it? Right at your pivots, so we'll mark that in. We'll make it green. Just for the heck of it. All right. And then I'm going to set an alert on it. Right click, create alert, crosses below, let me know. All right, that's it for that. Let's go ahead and change this back to a 15-minute time frame chart. I'm going to give you your pre-market highs and your pre-market lows. Looks like it's wanting to actually pull up above that, isn't it? Okay, so we might get our alert firing right off the bat. But we're going to keep those alerts on there anyhow, because they do come in. You will watch, they will come into play. But you have a pivot here as well at 735.5. Your pre-market low is, you're looking at 733.13. Your pre-market high is, you're looking at pre-market high 736.14, which we're actually challenging right now. Well, the balance range on this, we're actually a little bit high on the balance range right here. We're trading way up here on this balance range right now, right here. So if it opens up there, that's beautiful because I'm actually looking to see if the market decides to actually go a little bit short today. So I'm looking for a break of this trend line, and then I would actually might have a spike through that looks like that on this as well. So that's what you're looking at on the SPY. Let's go ahead and look at it on the daily time frame chart or on the hourly, because I also want to show you, on this chart right here. Because it's the end of the week, I want to show you this, okay? Look at this on let's see if it shows it on the daily. All right, we're going to go to a weekly. All right, you can see here on the weekly, right? You can see every time we had this hit the top, right? It failed, right? It failed right here. But now we had a breakthrough. Look here, we had this breakthrough and we're pushing up and over, right? But I also want to show you this. Take a look at this, because I actually pulled up a couple of charts for you to see what can happen. So I want to open your mind to this. Look here, this is TSM. previously on a weekly chart on a breakthrough, and this is AMAT, previously on a breakthrough. And what do you see? You see pretty much the same thing that we're looking at right now. I want you to pay attention to this right here. You see that? You see this right here? That's where we're at right now. And if you get this where it's a breakdown, or this where it's a breakdown, and you noticed here that I actually had drawn this in as an ascending bearish wedge. Look at the drop on this, guys. Look at the drop. The drop takes you all the way from here to the bottom of the trading range. Look at that. Takes you all the way from here to the bottom of the trading range. It can happen quickly. You know what? I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I want to make sure that you're alerted to what are we looking at right now? Are we looking at a spike high that's actually going to capitulate next week? You know what? Put it in the back of your mind. Put it in the playbook, because if it starts to happen, I don't want you to be surprised. We're still in a buy the dip mode right now, and we will continue. Once again, a bull is hard to kill, right? So we're in the buy the dip mode. Turn this back to a 24-hour time frame chart. And guys, I'm actually going to take, because I have in the past not, let me see what the time frame is, because I did want to do some dashboards. It's 8:36. Hard stop at 8:45 on the things that I'm doing, and then I'm going to do your tickers, okay? But I wanted to actually take a look at the dashboards because it's the end of the week. My dashboards, this is what I call my dashboards right here. When you look, this right here, and what we're going to look at the mark for today, which is the pre-market. We're going to look at the what's going on for the week, and then we want to see the price action right through here. So we're going to take a look at these dashboards, okay? So I'm actually going to minimize this, and we're going to actually go straight into the dashboards, and we're going to look at what is going on right now here in the pre-market. We're going to run through all of these really quick. So in our pre-market, the NQ is leading the way, right? And so we have the Russell is right behind it with 84. And then for the week, the NQ's killing it, 44.2%. But you know what? Something we haven't talked about, natural gas. You know what? I've got to put natural gas on my list. Natural gas actually, oops. I see here. There we go. Natural gas, I think, actually deserves a look, guys. You know what? A lot of people are saying natural gas is a possible energy play for AI, and natural gas has been beat down. So maybe we want to take a look at that. Also, we want to look at this. This energy play is down 7.42, so that is significant. Maybe we catch a little bit of a bounce next week. You know, Bitcoin actually has, Bitcoin, is that Bitcoin? Yeah, Bitcoin's actually up 3%. So Bitcoin's doing okay. However, it's very flat right now. So that's it for this. Moving on, let's take a look at what's going on with like the, sorry about this. I always get this confused. There's what I got right there. All right, so there you go. So the TLT is actually moving up slightly. So that's bad for interest rates. TLT is moving up slightly, but the rest of the stuff's moving down. The dollar's moving down. The VIX is down. That's all great. Bueno for the stock market, okay? So moving on to the next thing. The ETF markets, well, okay, let's see. ARK is down at the bottom. That's not risk-on sentiment right here. I like to see ARK up at the top if it's risk-on. So maybe today is not risk-on, but it's up in every time frame. You look at the ETFs; they don't have a single pullback on the 5, 15-minute, 1 hour, 4 hour, daily, weekly. None of them. The QQQs are up 3% for the week. So kudos to the QQQs. Another great week for you. All right. The semis, they're leading the ways for the sectors. XLK is leading the way for the sectors. Energy is down, and they're down in every time frame. You can't lose for the semis right now. Throw a dart on the dartboard and you win. All right. Extended sectors. This is where I think we actually get some real understanding about what is going on in the market. Look at all this green over here, guys. Look at all this green. Look at this green. Amazing right there. Look at that. Green, green, green. Look at the red right here. Red. I got it drawn a little bit too thick for you, but look at that. Look at that red. And the red is in your real estate, your energy, and guess what? The software play that, it ended up playing out a couple of times, and it's actually up 4.97 on the week, but it's down today. it's down today on some earnings news. So this thing is very fickle. When the market gets in the mood, like I got to find somewhere to put money, this thing rips up. But then as soon as some bad news comes out about software stocks, it just gets hammered. And you can see it's getting hammered in the recent time frames, but the longer time frames is doing well, which actually lines up with the weekly right here. And then the big down ones for the week are actually your energy plays. But look at Mara. Mara's up 10.82%. And this actually speaks well to stocks like Mara and what's the one I'm trying to think of? It's on the earnings report. I can't think of it. Moving on. Okay, that's it for that. So moving over to your Mag 7. Tesla is killing it this week, you guys. It's up, look at this. It's up 5% on the week. Tesla over 405 is a win. It's a win in every single time frame. You might have to try to figure out a way to ride the wave, get on the 5 moving average, 10 moving average, something like that, if you want to get in Tesla. I'm not sure Tesla's going to have a big pullback because Tesla's one of the ones that's been a loser, has become a winner. Apple is actually pushing for all-time highs, guys. So, and then you have NVDA having a great week, 6.58 up for the week, and it's up again today. So NVIDIA giving you no pullback to get into NVIDIA, just continuing to go up. Amazon actually had a great week so far, but it's actually kind of just slowly melting up. Google, the stock that's going to actually rule the world, the stock that's going to take over the number one place from NVIDIA, it's resting today. And then Microsoft had a nice rip yesterday. I was on a swing trade yesterday, took a quick scalp on it, or not a scalp, but day trade. And I closed that position because it's volatile. So that's it for the AI. I mean, for your Mag 7, we're going to go to the tickers that matter, the ones that you guys want to look at. So we're doing that right now. All right. It is 8:42, just like I promised. I actually finally going to get to some of your own tickers. You guys are running the show today, okay? You guys are running the show. I had somebody ask about Adobe yesterday, so I got it. Just to actually kind of be fair. I want to do Adobe first. Actually, before I do that, I'm sorry. I got to do one more thing. We got to do earnings. So earnings from yesterday. I still got 3 minutes before it's 8:45, right? Well, let's look at the earnings first, because the earnings were actually on. And you know what I didn't do? I didn't do the pre-market report. Oh my God, there's so much to do for you guys. Okay, so here's the earnings after the close yesterday. And we had some big beats and some big losses, and it's very important. So this is the reason why you're seeing the IGV down. Upwork, Hubs is HubSpot, by the way. Love HubSpot. The trading desk, CoreWeave, they got killed. They got killed. Look at this, guys. They got killed on earnings. So that's why you're seeing that down. They're down big time. They actually, some of them have been up very nicely for the week. CoreWeave, look at that. CoreWeave was up 8% for the week. Now, Irene is really interesting. Irene is like is the same kind of a play. It's the same kind of play as Mara, but Irene actually gave back all of the gains. I watched Irene in the aftermarket. It ripped up, then it gave back all the gains, and I was like, wow, okay, it's going to go down. But now look at it. It's up 14%. It's up 24% for the week. I am very interested in Irene because Irene has the AI play as part of it. So Irene is a very interesting stock to me. I would like to see Irene drop a little bit more. I'd love to sell some puts in against Irene. I like and then you got DraftKings reported as well. They're up in every time frame, just barely up right now. So, and then Rocket's up in every time frame as well. Having a little bit of a rough week, down 3.3%. So that's it for that. Guys, I want to also mention about the pre-market report. The only thing I'm going to do on the pre-market report is I'm going to actually look at what's the narratives for the top fives, and then we'll go into and this report is available to you. Go to stockchartistry.com. You can sign up for this and have this in your email box every day. Number one issue on this report is the Iran deal is dead. If this actually becomes alive again, it could rip the market up. If some more escalations happen in the Gulf, it could actually rip the market down in a hurry, right? The software earnings, what I just got done talking to you about, that actually could play a part in today's trading, so pay attention to that. The consumer stress is building because of McDonald's and Kraft. They're actually talking about lower income customers are actually having a really rough time of it, right? So, this is actually, we are seeing this in the economy, and that's actually showing up on some of the earnings reports. And then gold is starting to rally. And then you have all of this information along with then you come to the pre-market live, and you have so many tools in your pocket, you're ready to win for the day. Okay, subscribe to this. It's free right now. It'll be free for the first 30 days. It's in a beta phase right now, but when it goes live in a go live phase, it'll still be free for 30 days. And then after that, I'm going to charge a very low amount, like $5 a month to receive this in your email box. All right, going to go to the charts, guys, like I promised. And so it is 8:46, and now we are going to go to Adobe, and let's look at Adobe on the long-term time frame chart and then drill down, okay? Going to maximize this, and actually let's turn off the indicators just to get a clear view of the price action against the trend lines. So Adobe's actually coming out of this, it's coming out of this breakdown right there, right? So let's see, it's coming out of that breakdown, and it had this kind of thing going on, which is a bullish rising wedge. So it came out of that. It had a nice little pop, but then what you got was you got a first leg breakout on that. So that's a first leg breakout, but then it broke down, which is exactly what you expect to see happen because we have tons of overhead resistance right through here. So then you had a second leg breakout, but the second leg breakout is not very impulsive. We got one candle is semi-impulsive, but it put in that wick at the top, and it's really just kind of like inching along. That's not a good look. I would really want to see a little bit more. So it's just got so much overhead, guys. It's got so much. If I put this on a weekly time frame chart, and I've done this for you before, it's just got way too much overhead to actually do something. So it's really, it's a challenge. If it breaks this trend line, it's actually going lower again. So right now, this is kind of what you're looking at. And so it needs to get up above that 260 if you want to actually swing this for any time length on a long. Let's see what it looks like on a 4-hour time frame chart. Yeah, well, there it goes. I called it out, 260, didn't I? So there's your snapback right there at 259.21. I would say 260, get above 260, hold 260, and you can go long on this. You can see that you got like a little bit of a trend line right here, and then it's actually trying to put in a secondary trend line right there. Moving on to the 1-hour time frame chart. So on this 1-hour time frame chart, let's draw it out. And yeah, it's this is it. This is it right there. So you guys are seeing it, and I'm seeing it. Right there is your top, and it's right there at that snapback. Lots and lots of resistance in this zone area. If it gets above that zone, you're in business. If it gets down below this zone, you're in trouble. So what are those two zones? We're looking at on the bottom, your snapback. Once again, these snapbacks they're amazing. These snapbacks are a part of my indicators that you can put on your own charts if you use Thinkorswim. Go to stockchartistry.com, 248.28 snapback low. You go down below the snapback low, you lose the 200 period moving average on your hourly time frame chart, you're in trouble. Snapback high, 258.24, okay? Let's go ahead and let's look at the 15 minute and give you your pivot high and pivot low. So your pivot high for this right now is, pivot high is 257. So it's right there in that 260 range. So you could get an early entry instead of waiting for 260. You get an early entry on this pre-market high. I called it a pivot high. I mean a pre-market high. Your pre-market low invalidates your go long until you get above that pre-market low is 253. It's challenging 253 right now. You know why it's challenging 253? Because of what we just saw in the pre-market report. Once again, that's the reason why you continue to add to your toolbox. That pre-market report is invaluable. And the reason why it's trading down right now is because there is negative sentiment right now against the software because of what happened in earnings. And that's a descending triangle right there. So descending triangle that breaks down underneath of that. Your next spot of support is 250. Okay, so there's that one. Let me go over here. Welcome to the chat there, stock market, bilingual stock market channel. Very first person out the gate to ask for something was SK Trading Desk. TTD Trading Desk. All right, let's go to the longer time frame chart. So Trading Desk, it looks terrible. But is it a buy the dip opportunity? Is it a dumpster fire grab? There's your regression channel right there. If I'm swinging this long, I would want to see it get right up above there, that 24.72. Let's go ahead and move it into a 4-hour time frame chart. On the 4-hour, yeah, there it is. Get above 25. Right now, what are you putting in right here? I mean, it's very easy to see. You're putting in a bear flag. So you're putting in a bear flag on this. I do not like bear flags on a stock that's beaten down. This stock here is wanting to actually probably come in through here and then maybe retest, because there's some people are going to be like, oh, that, it's a low. But it's probably going to go down below that. And especially if you lose this center trend line right here. Look at this. You lose this center trend line right here at 18. And then 18 almost is where your wick is right there. You're in trouble. I think this pretty much tells the story. You're going to have to contend with the 28 right here on this weekly downtrend line. This is not a go long stock, boy, at least in my mind. It could change. It could change. The market makes fools out of everybody. It loves to make a fool out of me. Look at this downtrend line on the 20-period moving average. It's just getting crushed. Oh, yeah, because, it also reported earnings. So, and it's one of the ones that actually is being featured in my pre-market report. So 21 on the high, you could actually go into a gap fill. So this could be a scalp today on the gap fill, right? 21 on the high. Actually, I would even go ahead and jump in on it if actually just ripped up above and keep it one bar below the low. I had a couple of trades like that this week that actually were some of my best trades. Chasing responsibly, guys. If you're going to chase responsibly. Have a stop loss, a really tight stop loss. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. If it does work out, okay, you give 5-to-1 sometimes on your risk reward. That's your 15-minute time frame chart. So this is very important right here. That's your pre-market high is 21. There it is right there. So it's right there at 21. Your pre-market low is 19.71. 19.71 is your pre-market low. But I'd actually use this pivot low right here, 1950, and then you're going down to 1875. You lose 1875, and then the trap door just opened up for a next leg down. A lot of times these things don't want to actually take a very next leg down the very next day. I mean, the day of. It's already priced in a substantial drop in there. So not sure we're going to do that. All right, there's the trading desk for you, SK. What else did you have? You had CoreWeave. So let's go ahead and we'll do CoreWeave. That I'm very interested in CoreWeave because of the amount of news that's been in it. So let's see, CoreWeave on the 24-hour. There we go. CRWV, CoreWeave. CoreWeave, okay. Well, CoreWeave actually, let me go ahead and put on my studies because I want to see my snapbacks. And what we're going to do is this is the mother of all moving average. I'm actually going to just leave the 200 period moving average on. So it keeps the chart clean. Okay. Anyhow, I want to see my pivots. I want to see my snapbacks. So that's the reason why I put that on there. But I don't have a pivot off of these highs. So let's go ahead and draw in a pivot off of the highs. So it's got such a huge range right here. I mean, I'm not going to draw a pivot that goes all the way from 150 down to 138, right? But you see that you got kind of an area right here where you have that wick high, and then you got the wick low. So I am going to make a range right on that. This thing is really volatile. I hate when stocks trade like that. We're going to move this out for 1 year. So it extends across the top. But there you go. It bounced into that range, and now it actually ended up bouncing down. I'm not sure what it's doing on the day because I don't have it's not showing it on this one. But you look like you kind of put in a little bit of an ABC pattern. I don't know if that's the top of the ABC, but you got to get above this. You got to get above this, man, for sure. You got to get above this breakdown candle right here. This is a control bar right here. If you're not above that control bar, the bears are in control right there. You do have a nice trend line. It looks like that I can see right here. I'm going to actually draw this in on Thinkorswim because I think it deserves to be drawn in. Right here, look at this. Boom. That's a daily. So I'm going to make that a blue. Make that a blue. I'm going to call it a daily uptrend line. So here's how I do it. You guys are welcome to follow my UTL. If I can type UTL. I'm getting very excited about having all you guys on here and trying to actually get all these charts done. I love doing charts. That's my favorite thing to do. So I want to actually set an alert on this if it'll let me. Sometimes it doesn't let you. There you go, create an alert. Crosses below. Boom, done. All right, so if it crosses below that, I'm going to know, and I'm going to look at that because I'm going to tell you why. You got a snapback low right there. You got a daily trend line. Daily trend lines are strong. You got some pivots right here. So this is actually a possibility for me in my selling call strategy to sell a call on this. Let's see what it looks like. If I was selling a call, I mean, not a call, selling a put on this, I like to go out at least 3 weeks, give myself a little bit of room to play. But yeah, you know what I like? I like this. I like something that's like that, a decent IV. So yeah, I'd probably come down into, somewhere around in this range right through here, pick it up for $500 or $700 and start a position on that because it's already been beat down. And it actually has a pretty good story behind it. So might be looking at that today. Might be looking at that. Just let you know. Just an idea in case you guys ever look at selling calls. All right. So what are we looking at? It really needs to get above this to actually be a go long. Not for me because I'm actually doing a different kind of a trading strategy. Now, I also like, though, that we're up above this trading range right through here. You see this? There's a lot of volume in here. So that's actually very beneficial, right? A lot of people traded through here. So this actually acts as excellent support. So should it actually break down, through here, should it break down to here, you actually are looking at the 200 period moving average and all these traders jumping in to help support it. You got a pivots, you got a snapback. This actually looks like an opportunity to maybe be a buy the dip opportunity. Once again, market sentiment could actually change the idea on this altogether. So it is currently in a bear flag. Now, context matters more than the pattern setup. The bear flag, the setup is this right here, bear flag right there. That's your bear flag. So if I'm only looking at the setup, then this actually has about a 65, 68% that it's actually a go short because a bear flag is continuation pattern. However, context on this says the opposite. See, context says this stock is actually in a slight uptrend right through here. Actually, in the lower time frames, or in the most recent time frames, it's in a much more stronger uptrend. And so the context says it actually is putting a bear flag in right at this strong support and with an uptrend. So guess what? Context trumps setup. Okay. I'm not saying that it can't play out a bear flag. I'm saying bear flags like this one right here, which actually in this case, the context actually was, hey, it can go lower. This one here put in a context of a bear flag right here, and it was underneath of this trading range. And the moving averages were pushing you down, so actually it could have gone lower. It already had 1, 2. So on this one, it's actually going to have a third move down. Once again, bear flag, bear flag, bear flag. About the third, the fourth time down, you're actually kind of spent, But then also, it was probably picking up support off of this, like snap under and come over to go ahead and get some liquidity on this. And then it ended up breaking longer time frame, 8:59, and I've only done. I just get into my charts so much. I love the charts, guys. Microsoft. You know what? Okay. Microsoft. All right, let's do Microsoft. Let's do Microsoft. Microsoft. It's just vacillating here, isn't it? I mean, the stock really doesn't move like this usually, with these huge, like, way up, way down, way up, way down. It's following the whole IGV thing. It's like, okay, you know what? Now's the time to get into Microsoft. It's down around $400. A year from now, it'll be $500. It'll be $600. It's the perfect time to get into Microsoft. But then all of a sudden, news comes out and earnings comes out, and it gets pulled back down. So it's suffering from being in that software space. That's exactly what's happening with Microsoft. And I'll tell you this too. I kind of feel like Microsoft is actually losing the war against Google. And that's why I say Google is actually going to rule the world. But it's got a snapback high right here, or snapback low. It's got a snapback high in the same range. If you're not above this 426, 431 area, you know what? You're in trouble. It actually put in a very nasty topping wick on that. You know, we did have a buyer right here. You know, there's some long-term investors that are thinking this is a great place to buy. This is a battle zone right now, guys. This is a terrible battle zone. And that's the reason why I went ahead and got out once I started seeing this wick right there. But basically, you're stuck in this range right here. There's somebody up here that's selling hard, or groups of people, and there's groups of people down here that are like, you know what, this is a great opportunity to buy. So somebody's going to win this war, but right now that's your range. Your range is, if you want to go long or go short on this, 398, 400. You know, it may hold that, but if it loses its trading range, I mean, you could be in trouble. You could be in trouble right there. It's actually continuing to trade down on the bottom part of this range. I don't know if it's got much lower to go. You know what I'd love to do actually is to take a look at the Elliott wave, because I think the Elliott wave actually predicts this to go a lot lower. Yeah, in fact, you know what? I believe the Elliott wave predicts this to go down to 350. So let's just see what Elliott has to say. And Elliott isn't always right, just like nobody is. Let me see here. That's what I want right there. Oh, and I do have it pulled up, and let's put the Elliott wave on it so you can see I looked at it. Oh, no, 300. It has it predicted by September or October, this is going to go into 300. And not only that, it actually is saying that it's already put in the top 4. So you could actually, on the trade on this, if you believe Elliott and you think this is a go short, you put in there's your trend line right there. It breaks that trend line, and then you actually you'll probably see something like this, right? And then you get that second wave breakdown. And especially if the market actually is in a negative sentiment, this could actually be a nice short swing in the future, but not now. Not now. It's in a trading range. You're going to do one more, guys. I did some stocks for you guys. I want you to do a favor for me. Hit a like on the video. Put something in the comments for me. Tell me if you tell me this. All right. Put something in the comments. Do you think we're going to be green next week or red next week? All right. I'm going to tell you what I think in just a second. We're going to do Qualcomm. Going to do Qualcomm, then I'm going to call it a day. Hey guys, if you're part of Bilingual Stock Market Channel's Patreon, you're going to be part of my live session today that we do during Power Hour. And I got a lot of stuff to share with people during Power Hour. It's not just a Power Hour, but it's also a class and basically how to trade and what to look for in your trades and stuff like that. We really dig in deep. And we spend an hour, and it's set up only for his tier 2 subscribers. So looking at Qualcomm, you know what? This is funny. So here's the thing. When I created this thumbnail for today's video, this chart right here is exactly what is going on in the semis. It looks like it's just a gift. But I wanted to show you this actually, because this is actually Micron. I want to show you Micron first, okay? Because Qualcomm, Micron, they're all kind of trading the same way in a way. but I like Qualcomm. Actually, I like Qualcomm as it goes along, but not necessarily right now. But let's look at this. I wanted to show you this. I pulled a Fibonacci extension on this from here. Where did I pull it from? Yeah. So from this low, from this breakout right here. Yeah. So here you go. So from here, arrow's a little big. From right here, where we actually began seeing this, to this breakdown to there, right? What is the extension? And I was like, son of a gun, it actually already ripped well over the 100 mark. So then I said, okay, let me open up the 161.8. And what did it do? It went right up to the 161.8 and it actually topped. And so is that the top? Is 700 the top for Micron? Is this the top for is this at least the near term top? Is it time for it to actually roll back to this trend line, at least the top of where it was trading off of this trading range where it was actually already parabolic? Look at this parabolic move. That's not sustainable. Anyhow, I'm expecting semis to come in. I'm watching it for the short, not this week, but I may end up playing an objective short on it, maybe even a very light, say, lotto call on the semis. And I know a lot of people are shorting the semis and they're getting killed, but I wouldn't short the semis this week until actually right before power hour. So what are you looking at, though, also on Qualcomm? You're looking at a stock that is very far removed from this 20-period moving average right here. So it's very far removed from the 20 period. It's put in a snapback high over here at 223.66. Let's go over here to the hourly time frame chart to see if there's a way to, or the 4-hour, same thing. Let's just see if there's a way to trade this on the 15-minute time frame chart. So there's your top right there, is the 223.75. It had a very nice move over here, and now it looks like it gave back about 61.8. I can pretty much eyeball that and say, on your fib retracement, that's exactly what you want to see. It's like just a little bit past the 50% mark and then putting in these nice wicks down here, and now it's actually pulling back up. So a pull back into these ranges, pull back into these moving averages, this will probably trade higher. All your moving averages are actually pointing up. Your 20 and your 50 and your 200, they're all moving up. Your pivot high, your pre-market high right now is 217.5. Your pre-market low is 205.5. Guys, it's 9:07. It's time for me to get started for my trading day. Hey, have a great day. Make lots of money. And I thank you so much for being part of my pre-market report. Have a great weekend. And you know what? Don't trade all day. Take some time off. Enjoy your day. Talk to you later.